What's going on? Today, we're going to be talking about two up and coming social media uh, content creators that have some ideas basically on how to save Black relationships in America. I'm going to pretty much just react to these videos. Some of the things I do agree upon, some of the things I don't agree. And I think to a certain degree or another, there is some misunderstanding. Okay, so I'm gonna get right into it. First off, the people that are critiquing, you probably saw them on social media already. I don't know anybody that necessarily already talked about them on YouTube. The lady is I am Taylor Chandler on Instagram, and she's a licensed therapist as far as what she says on her profile. And the other person is he goes by. Let me get his information. Give me just a moment. He goes by Cipher.j on TikTok. TikTok. All right, so let's just get right into it. Let's play some of their videos. I got a few of them. Let's start with the man. The man is supposed to be the leader, right? But for some degree or another, this guy doesn't necessarily think that. He doesn't. He kind of goes into things a little bit gynocratically speaking, in my opinion. Okay. So let's see which one we're gonna start with here. Let's see here. Let's see what we're gonna start with. We're gonna let the man lead like he's supposed to lead, but I don't think this guy believes in that. He's on some kind of and I follow both of these guys, and I mean these individuals, and I agree with a lot of what they're talking about. I think they do have some very good ideas, um, very intelligent ideas. I mean, obviously, these are either Z's or millennials, or one is a millennial and one is a Z. I don't know their age, but I would have to say either. I would say probably the woman is a millennial, the guy is a Z, but I'm not sure. Um, a lot of a lot of people have different experiences, but you know, we're gonna get right into it. Let me see here. I got I think this is the one here. I think this is the one that I wanted to talk about. Let's get right into this one here. I think this is the one. Let me see here.
Ideal dating model than traditional for black people because the traditional dating system was built on white wealth and government handouts that excluded us, right? So this means regardless of what we pick, 50-50, 100-0, none of those are going to work because black people experience economic theft, unpaid labor, and social instability at higher.
Yeah, and see, he's going in. He's kind of I mean obviously I think I don't really know, I don't know what people talking about or whatever saying, but he's kind of like if Kevin Samuels had a son, this will be his son. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying, he kind of has a very smart delivery. He's bringing a lot of different things, and what he says that I do agree with is, so here's the thing with modern dating or whatever in America, black men and black women, they don't really want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, yeah, your experience is our both of our experiences is, you know, basically uniquely different one than everybody else, right? Transatlantic slave trade, coming over here on boats from Africa, getting sold off. from the chiefs and the kings in Africa, tribal warfare. Basically, in case you didn't know, history of basically African history as it relates to America. What happened was basically the Crusades. You know, the Crusades happened, and basically the remnants of the Crusades still linger on today. Okay, and the Crusades, in case you really don't know, is basically Islam versus Christianity. Also, the Jews were also involved in that. Just in case you didn't know, the Jews did not side with Christians. They actually did. The Jews played both sides. So the Jews pretty much partnered with the Muslims because Islam and Judaism have very similar cultural values and perspectives, such as what you can eat and all of that type of stuff. How, Jews pray 3 times a day. Muslims pray like 5 times a day. So the thing is that from all of that conquest, warring back and forth, the Muslims went into Africa. Also, the Christians went into Africa. So that created basically the war brought into Africa. A bunch of slaves were captured. They were captured. Okay. And I say slaves because basically that's how they got into these slave dungeons and the boats and sent over to America. Okay, yeah, a lot of people don't want to hear this. You want to run from it, whether you white, whether you black, you want to run from this topic. Yeah, I'm I'm a scholar when it comes to history. Okay, see, I'm a young elder at this point, and I know my history. I know world history. I am both African and African American. I know the history from in Africa, and I also know the history in America when it comes to black people. So if you really want to diagnose the root of a problem, it would help to go towards the roots. A lot of people are very, very surface level. So that's being surface level doesn't necessarily solve the problem of why the plant is having issues. You have to go to the root to understand why a plant is having issues. Now, all that being said, that is what happened. That's why there are slaves sent to America. It was basically a lot of wars, into warfare in Africa. These two parties, primarily Christians and the Muslims, fighting each other. And notice I didn't say white people or anything. That's what the spin that they try to put you with. They try to put it in all white people. Let me tell you something. The nobility in Europe is was black people also in that nobility class in Europe. They were knights. They were black knights. They were black princesses, black kings, black queens, black princes. Black people in Europe were in the nobility class, and nobody in history really wants to tell that story because it is basically an agenda to hide that fact in the movies and history, in the history books, in the TV shows, in academia, because they don't want you to know the agenda was for you to be a permanent slave in the mind, also in your daily life, in your thinking. Okay, so they also wanted other white people to believe that they were always Europe was just this all white experience, and it was no other people there, and that further pushes the agenda and makes white people uh, unintelligible racists and bigots, and not knowing the actual true history fuels that. Not knowing history fuels that fire. So, all of that being said, that's very, very important, because Black people's actual experience and ancestors' experience have very much to do with why we have the problems that we have today, as well as the things that he's mentioning, the economics, the government pushing welfare. You find out that the lady that was involved in feminism, Gloria Steinman or whatever, that's a Jewish name. It basically was a CIA asset. That's what you find out once the documents get unsealed and all of that. You find that basically the agent of feminism was a CIA asset. It was a government oligarchy plutocratic plan of the 1960s and 1950s. Because you got to understand, you had poor Black women always been working, the working poor, they always had to work. And then you had other white women that had to work because they were poor. It was more poor people than well-to-do people always throughout American society and history. So in order to control the poors, they had to create something called feminism to empower the poors, to keep the wealthy basically in their enclaves. Okay. So you know what I'm saying? I have a lot more depth, that I can add as far as my understanding of history and what actually goes on than these young chaps. As smart as they are, as educated as they are, they don't have a lot of the actual living to actually kind of have understanding as someone that's like in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you know. But we gonna listen to these new saviors of the communitah. And I say communitah because it's like a lot of things have already been said, and there is a foregone conclusion that this experiment, this project, as what you call basically the Black experience in America, is, basically going through some turmoil. America is going through some turmoil. The, dating experience in America is going through turmoil because these Eurocentric English laws that basically have it to where you only protect it unless you're extremely wealthy or rich. Because basically, when you're rich and wealthy, I'm gonna be honest with you, relationships do matter, but they don't matter as much as if got $50,000 versus, or someone might not even have $5,000 of actual like, let's just say, wealth or savings to, let's say, shield themselves from a disastrous relationship or divorce or child support, custody agreement, so on and so forth. Only the rich and wealthy have the ability to come out of that almost unscathed, or basically shielded, other than dealing with their children. Okay, that is a little bit more complicated, but when people go through divorce and they don't have much, well, it's not that much of a situation, because you're shielded, because you don't really have anything to, you know, provide. But if you're in the middle, right, you got a house, you have cars that you both have in your name, that gets really complicated. And that's why a lot of time, I'm not gonna say a lot, but every now and again, I would say probably on average, probably once a week, there's some type of, you know, deletion, right? Or what do you call double deletion, right? Family deletion, right? Because the guy, he knows he's on the hook for half of everything he got. This woman is trying to leave him, and he's embarrassed because this woman is leaving him, and he got to go live with his mama and all that. He like, you know what? He just crashes out. White men have a reputation for doing that. I used to watch Cold Case. Okay, I used to watch Cold Case files religiously. Man, they have a reputation for death do us part. They really believe that. They believe in that. I can say wholeheartedly, white men believe in death do us part. And the thing is that basically, that type of situation is that happens in America I would say probably some will say every day, because I don't know what's going on in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know what's going on in Fargo, North Dakota. I don't get that news. Some stuff creeps into the national news, but it's stuff going on every day. You don't know what's going on in Indiana. You don't know. It's so many things that new. Okay, all of the things that actually goes on as far as the cops being called, less than 10% of that makes the news cycle. Okay. And you just got to think all of these things are going on at once in America. Things are, and then how many people are missing because the dude was, crafty. The father was crafty, or the husband was crafty, and they hid the body, put it in a pig sty or whatever. All these things you find out in the cold case files and all of that. Well, I mean, those are the things that are the problem. A lot of what the women basically getting away with, getting full custody and getting, heavy child support, all of these things are basically designed by the justice system, basically the court system, the government. The women basically are using the government to financially abuse men. So obviously, that creates this cesspool that we have where, basically, uh, guys don't even want to get married no more. Guys don't even want to, even have children no more, because the government justice system or court system is basically biased towards the mother. So, the thing is that who is shielded from that? Only the rich and wealthy. I mean, that's the reason of this channel. This is a financial channel for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Get rich and wealthy. A lot of the videos about me talking about basically get rich and wealthy. So yeah, you can have some money in a Swiss bank account. You can have some money in the Grand Caymans. You can have some money somewhere else. So your woman step out of line. Okay, and all right, what you want? Okay, there you go. But you know what I'm saying? She's not taking everything you got because you're rich. Okay, she doesn't even know about how rich you actually are. She only has an idea. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they do it every day. And then things happen where somebody's in a pig pen, somebody's missing, somebody, is, a family deletion, because women don't understand who they're it's some guys that they're not gonna go along with the program. That's what you gotta understand, and that is the game that some women play, and they find out that there's some guys that believe in direct karma where they're gonna take him. They're not gonna let karma work itself out. They're gonna just work that shit out themselves. And I mean, that might be scary to you, but you got to be real. This happens every single day. There's basically dudes that basically they know it's unfair and unbiased. It's even guys that shouldn't even be married to in the first place, and these women get involved with these dangerous men, and basically the woman just says she wants to leave. She don't want nothing. She just want to leave. The guy does the same thing because he has some type of complex where his ego doesn't see anything besides him being with his wife, his kids, and she damn near got to get in the witness protection program to get away from this crazed lunatic of a husband. So, but I know I drifted a little bit off the course and went all the way into cold case files and everything. But basically, this guy talking about the economics of the black community and black people and stuff like that. It is very, very valid. A lot of relationship coaches and all of that shit. They don't talk about the systemic oppression that black people have in America and historical oppression. They don't really talk about that shit, and that's very, very fucking important when it comes to why black relationships have the problems that they have. Very, very important. If you don't talk about that or deal with that, then you missing a whole bunch of problems that the reason why black people have the problems that they have.
Higher rates. So we need a system that prioritizes fairness, stability, and collective power in a relationship. So I call this the Black Legacy Model. It's a framework designed to counteract systemic barriers, redistribute labor fairly, and build generational wealth for us.
And what I'll just say for before I even get into this, some of this stuff is like he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand nature. He doesn't look at. He's trying to logically distribute things. He doesn't look at nature and gender roles as, some people think that gender roles are a construct and all of this. This is gynocratic training. I don't know if this guy is a product of a single mother. I don't know his family. I don't know the other woman's family. See, this is why you got to be very, very careful of people coming on social media and just spewing out shit. It's like, okay, I go open up an Instagram, I open up a TikTok, and I start there, and I just spew out shit. Even on YouTube, people spewing out shit. You don't know their family fucking tree. What, like, if they don't tell you that their mom pretty much like ran their dad off and they was a product of a single mom. So they're very feminist leaning because they was a product of a single mom. They don't tell you this shit. They don't give you their bio. So it leads other people to kind of decipher that themselves, because a lot of guys they grew up with basically single moms, and that's why these same guys are the ones that don't talk about these women. You are goofy for talking about women. Why you always talking about women? That is these guys, from the hardcore thug dudes is saying that to even the nerds that they're so one dimensional as far as thought, because where he doesn't understand is a lot of women, it's not about they don't want to wash dishes. It's not about equal fairness in the household. You can't even get to that point because a lot of women have problems courting with men because the father was taken out of the household. They have a problem even choosing men. They don't even know how to even be a wife themselves because they don't have that training. Their mom was not a wife. So you trying to, terraform people that basically are not wives or husbands in the first place, putting them together and having some type of magically because you change the roles of the household, everything will be fine. It's not about the roles of the household. It's not anything. That's surface level shit. It's inside your mind and your soul. If your mind and soul is programmed to be basically a concubine, you're not going to never be a wife because you don't know what a wife is. You were brought up to be a concubine. It goes back into the Bible. I gotta talk on some Bible, Quran type stuff. I gotta talk language that's been around over 1,000 years, because it's very relevant today. A lot of women were trained to be concubines, not wives. So you trying to terraform a bunch of women that are programmed and happy and very confident and just basically overall happy to be concubines, promoting concubine behavior. You trying to terraform them into being a wife, and just because, let's just play this video.
Because black love can't thrive under a system that wasn't made for us. So here's the first core pillar: financial partnership. It's not who pays what. Here's why the traditional model fails. Black men have been locked out of wealth building, right? Redlining, mass incarceration, job discrimination, and black women had to work and run households, double labor with no recognition, and that wasn't sustainable. Right? White couples succeed because they inherit assets. Black people often inherit struggle. Here's where the legacy model fixes it: income-based contributions. Whoever makes more pays more without resentment, period. That's the end of that discussion. Economic flexibility. If one partner is in career building mode, the other one provides stability. But the goal is long-term balance, right? Asset accumulation over consumption, right? Stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Prioritize home ownership, investments, and life insurance. But financial transparency and education. Talk about money openly. No more financial secrets or struggling in silence, right? No one should feel like a provider or a burden. We are building together, right? This is a building together. The second pillar is the redistribution of labor, fairness over gender roles, right? Here's why the traditional roles fail black couples. Black women do more unpaid labor, housework, childcare, emotional labor, even when they work full time. Black men are expected to financially provide even when the system puts them at a disadvantage, right? That kind of creates an emotional tension. But here's how the black legacy model resolves this. Labor is shared, not assigned by gender. If you live there, you clean there. If you eat, you cook sometimes. Emotional labor.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet money. He pretty much, he probably was a product of a single mom. Yeah, I kind of, it's a strong force within that, because see, here's the deal, right? Let's talk about men washing dishes and cleaning up and all of that. Let me see if I can find this. They found out that it was a correlation between divorce and men basically doing house chores that are primarily designed for um, uh, uh, for women. Women pretty much the whole gender roles things. Yeah, women have gender roles, men have gender roles. It's been around for a long time. All right, so this is something here came up. I'm gonna read this real quick because I've been new to this. See, like, it's certain things that we've already talked about on YouTube, Let me see. I think I lost my connection. Let's see here. Yeah, I lost connection. So uh yeah, that happens on a live stream, but I'm gonna get right back into what I was sharing here. So I'm talking about the dishwashing. Okay. So I'm gonna go right here to this article. Let me see if it's showing. It's right there. Okay. I recently ran across this article that said divorce rate amongst couples who share household duties equally was around 50% higher than those that were the woman did most of the chores. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read this fucking further. This is things that have already been talked about. Okay. These are already been talked about that these young people coming up, they don't know about because they weren't around. They wasn't around when we had these discussions a long time ago about, basically gender roles and all kinds of other things that's concerning to why the divorce rate is so high. In the black community, it's like 80% now. In other communities, it's really high as well. Okay, these are those conversations that these young people, did not.
Dating model than traditional for black
So let's go to about right
economic
here.
flexibility. If one person
Okay,
it's an
so
emotional tension. But here's how the Black legacy model resolves this. Labor is shared, not assigned by gender. If you live there, you clean there. If you eat, you cook sometimes. Emotional labor is recognized and reciprocated, right? So if she listens to your struggles, listen to hers. If she
you telling the guy to share. We can't pass over this. When you saying when they're saying they've already did, because see, it's like when people get divorced, some people do exit interviews. A lot of people do counseling, marriage counseling, right? So they compile this information and this data, and they ask questions. Who does the chores? These are important questions because it's about your daily life. Who does the cooking, the cleaning, and so on and so forth? And the husband saying, yeah, I share the cleaning responsibilities. Other immigrants, they scoff at men going to the fucking dishwasher, or not dishwasher, the fucking sink, and trying to wash dishes because they know their woman is supposed to fucking wash dishes. When they coming from Guadalajara, Mexico, they understand their woman washes dishes, cooks the tortillas, the fucking burritos, the empanadas, or whatever the hell, the tacos. They know their woman is raised to wash dishes by her nana, taught her how to wash dishes. Her mama taught her how to wash dishes. And he don't do nothing but sit at that table and wait to be served. That's how he was taught. That's how his mama served his dad. His grandma served his grandfather. And these are old ass gender roles. These go back thousands of years. And you got some smart guy with curtains in the background talking about you need to just share the responsibilities of dishes, because in his brain, in his young minded brain, he's trying to figure this shit out. This is a smart motherfucker. I don't think he's dumb. He got some good points. He's trying to think, I gotta please this broad. How can we please these broads? How can we please these black women that's so dissatisfied? How can we help each other? He's thinking like a woman. We share the responsibilities of dishes. If it was about the dishes, obviously, and cleaning and cooking, obviously, okay, if men just, okay, wash dishes more, that would save the black community. Do you think that is, you know, actually doing the dishes is going to make an unhappy woman, a nitpicking woman, a woman that was not raised to be a wife, doesn't understand how to be a wife, that's going to solve that situation? Equal distribution of house chores. And this is why an older guy like myself that could be this man's son, as far as age, most likely, I gotta tell him that 50% of men that do house chores, or basically divorce is higher, it's 50% higher for men that do house chores. I have to fucking come on here and set the record straight, because he don't know this shit. The other woman that I'm gonna play, she don't know this shit. She think we just a bunch of babbling idiots on YouTube that don't want to see, people happy with each other in a couple and holy matrimony or whatever the case may be. And that's totally malarkey. You know what I'm saying? Like totally malarkey. A lot of men in this YouTube sphere or whatever are married already. Okay, they already have wives. They just come on here because they, I don't, you know what I'm saying? They bored. You know what I'm saying? Like it's guys that got long-term girlfriends or long-term relationships or whatever. It's not just a bunch of guys, man. It's just lonely talking about whatever. The thing is yeah, chores, this guy doesn't really understand. He doesn't understand that statistic. Okay, he doesn't understand that. He's just trying to conceptualize all of this with 100% logic, and I get that. It makes sense, but does it make sense to women? No, it doesn't. Women look at things how they should be. I'm a woman. I should be the one washing dishes. Look at this dude washing dishes.
If he needs reassurance, give it too. It really is just about helping each other. No one partner is overworked while the other coasts. Balance is what creates longevity. It is not your feelings. Right? And this is also another thing, that childcare is a partnership, not a favor. A father isn't a babysitter, he's an equal parent. We got to start actually just talking about the level of accountability we need to have given how far we've, gotten. The third pillar is community and family investment. This is the village approach, right? Here's where the American model failed us. White families accumulate wealth through generational support, right? Inheritance, business connections, housing assistance, right? But black couples are expected to do everything alone, often while supporting extended family, right? The reverse. Here's how we fix this. Okay, family and community support. Raising kids ain't just on the parents, grandparents, aunties, and trusted friends contribute. Group economies, pulling money for investments, real estate and business ventures, right? Elder and child care strategies. Instead of relying on expensive outside help, black families can create in-home support systems, right? If we move like a community, we stop struggling like individuals. If we move like a community, we'll stop struggling like individuals. Do you get it? Like, and here's the fourth pillar: career and business flexibility, wealth over wages. Here's why 9 to 5 keeps us stuck, right? Black people are paid less for the same work, promoted slower, and less likely to inherit the business, right? We have the work till you die mentality, and it keeps black men and women exhausted with no long-term gain. Here's the truth, right? Instead of just working jobs, black couples should build businesses and assets together, right? Skill-based labor sharing. If one person is great at managing money and the other person is great at networking, both contribute in ways that build wealth. Career growth without straining the relationship. One partner should never feel like their dreams are a financial risk to the family.
Now, the obvious problem to this, right? Where the dream is illusionary, you got to be very careful to basically who you choose. Certain women are not going to work with this. And that's where he's not talking about. And I mean, you could say that shouldn't be that should be obvious. He can say that. And I mean, yeah, it should, but it isn't. It isn't. In theory, it should work out just like he's talking about. It should work out like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Subprime women, this model, it will be very, very, very difficult to implement this model with subprime women. With subprime women, it will be very, very difficult to implement this system that he's talking about. With prime women, maybe it's a stronger possibility. And even prime men, subprime men, this is going to be difficult to implement. It'll be like pulling teeth. And that's where, a lot of what he's talking about already, it is black couples that are already doing this. They have already done this. My grandparents pretty much did this. You know, my parents, um, tried to do this. Like my dad, I remember my dad used to wash his own dishes and all that shit. And yeah, after 20 years, after I got out of high school, it was over. That relationship, that marriage was over. I was gone. It was no, like sometimes parents, they stay together because of the children. The children are an excuse to stay together. After the children leave, it's like curtains. I knew after I left. I mean, matter of fact, before I even left, my parents was already, pretty much going separated. It was done. I mean, they ended up getting back with each other. But it's like, yeah, um, I've seen it. I've seen the whole. That's why I went in hard on the whole gender role shit because I seen that. I seen how that shit works out. If your woman can't cook and clean with you there, or cook or clean all of the dishes, she tripping about the dishes you leave in the sink, then you got a woman that really don't really want to be with you. or she don't understand that she has a different role, and her role is that of someone that's dominant. Someone that is basically taking care of the house and matriarchal and stuff like that. And that's where um, things are going to go awry, because you got to understand, a lot of men don't make as much as women. Some men don't even have good jobs or even jobs at all. They get money however they can get it. They still are men. They still, at the end of the day, are men, and should be respected. But a lot of women have a problem with that. So it's a lot of stuff, man, that work out. It's a value system problem, right? What black women, they don't necessarily value, a lot of black women don't necessarily value black men like they want to be valued. How do you deal with that? It's gonna be a lot of women and men on the outside looking in that type of, that new community that you're trying to build, that's already in existence. It's couples that already have that. They're just getting up for work, or they're in bed right now. They already have that model in existence. But you got to understand, a wide majority of individuals, unfortunately, in the black community, they they don't they're having these problems. They're having these issues. You got all kinds of stuff going on. How about the growing homosexual population? Okay, what about that? That's leading. That's the leading mindset. A lot of women are leaning into misandry. They're leading into misandry. What do you do about the misandrous? They're high level. You got very, very powerful misandrous now. It's not like it's not like 1980 or 1970. These women are high level misandrous. They got pistols. They got AR-15s, AK-47s, M16s. These women now, they're leaning into misandry. They're extreme levels of misandrist. They don't want to see a black family, a heterosexual, cisgender family, as they say. I don't even talk like that. But that's what a lot of women in the whole BLM. That's what they were against. They were against heteronormal cisgender relationships, traditional legacy family patriarchal ran households, uh, nuclear family households, traditional nuclear family households, and they led a whole movement that a whole bunch of people were behind, including both black men and women, were behind this movement that was basically a bunch of LGBT couples or LGBT individuals that were totally against normal black nuclear families. And that led a whole movement, that led a whole mindset. What do you do about what do you do about that? I mean, how do you shield your woman from a high level hyena misandrous? You know, how do you do that? She's whispering venom in other women's ear, and basically convincing them to be rainbow, to taste the rainbow. How do you deal with all of that? How do you deal with this here? This type of mindset from your peers, from the women that you, when I was coming up, these women like this, they didn't have no platform to talk like this. They weren't even confident enough to really talk like this. And if they did, people already knew that they were extremely crazy. They don't think this woman is crazy like that. They think this woman, what she's about to say is totally fine and hilarious and fun.
Okay. What's my biggest dating red flag?
Is it being on the DL?
You're on the right track. I have my answer.
Is it close enough?
You want to guess one more time? What would be a red flag for me?
Bad music taste?
Oh, that is a good one.
Because that's one for me.
That is a good one.
Like,
that's
what
not
do you
what
mean
I
you
put.
don't listen to Michael Jackson? But okay.
Okay. This is a huge red flag for me.
All right. You know what's so crazy? I was going to say men.
I mean, strike one. You're a man.
Yeah.
And you're heterosexual.
Yeah. I was going to say, so technically, because my mind was already there, I don't think I deserve to eat a wing.
I think you do, friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, always go with your gut instinct.
I think you need more sauce.
I mean, some people say it's a CIA plant. I mean, this is if you thought like the Mary J. Blige commercial with her eating chicken, let me see if I can find that. If you thought that was extreme, I mean, if you literally thought, you know, if you thought the whole Mary J. Blige commercial thing, this goes back, you know, like I don't know how long. This was 12 years ago. If you thought that was like, man, you know, extreme, this tips the scale. This definitely tips the scale right here.
Mary?
Crispy chicken, fresh lettuce, 3 cheeses, fresh dressing wrapped up in the tasty flour tortilla. Crispy chicken, wrapped up in
The new chicken snack wraps. Come and get it at Burger King.
Man, I know you want that right now. I know you want that shit. I know you like that shit right now. You want that right now. I know you want it. You want that shit. They need to bring them back, right? That's what you're saying to yourself. I know. I know. But yeah, let's play this again. This is definitely this it's like drives the meter up.
Okay.
What's my biggest dating red flag?
Is it being on the DL?
You're on the right track. I have my answer.
Is it close enough?
You want to guess one more time? What would be a red flag for me?
Bad music taste?
Oh, that is a good one.
Because that's one for me.
That is a good one.
Like,
But that's
what
not
do you
what
mean
I
you
put.
don't listen to Michael Jackson? But okay.
Okay. This is a huge red flag for me.
All right. You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men. I was gonna say men.
No, like, I mean, strike one. You're a man.
Yeah.
And you're heterosexual.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So technically, because my mind was already there, I don't think I deserve to eat a wing.
I think you do, friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, always go with your gut instinct.
I think you need more sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got a lot to deal with.
A black couple should be a wealth building team, right? Not just two people trying to pay bills together, right? But not every city supports black couples equally. Okay, so some places have better opportunities, lower costs, more black wealth potential, right? So Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, DC, Detroit, you got options. Like you can actually pull this off, right? But there are some cities that are really bad for black couples to try to develop in and resist systemic barriers, like New York, San Francisco, LA, Boston. The environment you build.
Well, I mean, it's more or less if you in a small town, like if you're in a smaller town or even a medium-sized town, that's where it gets complicated. Okay. I don't necessarily know about Boston and New York and all that. I've never lived there. I haven't been to Boston or New York, but I'll say like in small towns and even medium-sized towns, that's where it gets difficult. It gets really difficult. You really have to, really be on one accord, because when you in a small town or a small city or whatever, and it's far away from a metropolis, which is a big city, you basically in a survival state. And if you're surrounded by people that don't want your survival to be, thriving and whatnot, you might have some issues with that. So yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, a lot of this stuff I do agree with. I would say probably 80% of the things he's talking about, maybe 75%, I agree with.
Building matters, right? Choose a city that allows you to thrive, not survive. Because black couples aren't surviving, right? Like we can talk about how black couples aren't thriving, but if I point out a dead animal,
and I told, like, here's the thing, right? I already gave you the playbook on how you can find good real estate, how you can go on demographics websites and find basically areas where it's high education, the divorce rate is low, and the marriage rate is high. That's the cheat code to actually what he's talking about. Because I'm the genius, you know what I'm saying? He's the young guy trying to come up. He's coming up. I'm already been up. I you know what I'm saying? I know way more. I'm older. That's the cheat code to what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's the cheat code to good, profitable real estate. Right there. That's $1 million worth of game right there. I just made you a millionaire. Because you was trying to figure out how to find the best real estate. Just play back this video. There you go. Don't say I didn't tell you something. I didn't drop a gem. But yeah, let me play this some more.
On the side of the road and complain that he's not thriving. What were my expectations? So here's the final blueprint, how the Black Legacy model works in action. Build an economic partnership first, right? Romance second. Money stress kills relationships. Get on the same page financially early, right? Balance labor fairly. No one should be overworked. Household chores, what's the name? Child care, emotional labor should be distributed, not dumped on one person. Create financial safety nets. Life insurance, emergency savings, multiple streams of income. This is just to avoid survival mode, right? Like, this is just so y'all calm down. Ownership, entrepreneurship, and group economics keep us struggling forever, right? But we need to prioritize long-term wealth over that short-term struggle and really build a community that supports your relationship. Relationships thrive when they aren't isolated, right? So find like-minded Black couples, invest in networks, create spaces where Black love is nurtured and not drained. Black love is an investment, not just a feeling. And I think that's something our community never considered. They never understood that when you're participating in Black and Black love, right? And I'm just meaning this from the bottom of my heart. You are investing in the survival of our community, of our ethnic group, of our race, of our journey, of our bloodlines. That's what you're doing. And it's that significant. That's why it's a power move. The American dating model was never built for us. So let's just build one, right? The Black legacy model ensures that both partners gain from the relationship instead of being overworked or used, right? This isn't about who pays the bills. It's about making sure neither of us are struggling, because a Black couple really isn't just a love story. It's just a power move.
So he's basically, that's his first video. So now I'm gonna go into Taylor Chandler. She's like the female version of him. We're gonna go into her videos and, basically see what she's talking about. So let's see here. Share my screen. She's on Instagram. All right, right here. Let's go. Right here.
Values, similar behaviors, similar thought patterns.
Let's go.
Appear the same, talk the same, use the same language, even use the same cadence. Yeah, that's groupthink. It allows them to be accepted by each other.
Okay, I think this is the other video here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's share this one here. I'm gonna watch a couple of the videos from both of them, kind of get their point. All right, let's see here.
It's a cult-like mindset, and if you don't behave the way that they say to, then you're out of here. So I'm against antisocial culture. And at this, we can see through the statistics that Black women are aligned with anti-social values in general. We see that through the incredibly high numbers that we don't see in any other races, and we don't see it in Black men.
Hold on.
It is a particular group that is going in a destructive direction. And because we can see it showing up in the divorces, in the single parent houses, in the children that are damn falling apart, we know that there must be values that they are aligned with, that are not aligned with progress, that are not aligned with pro-social values, that are not aligned with a higher way of being. They can't be, because it would not produce the type of results that we're seeing. This type of sorority that the Black women have, sisterhood thing, having similar values, similar behaviors, similar thought patterns, appear the same, talk the same, use the same language, even use the same cadence. Yeah, that's groupthink. It allows them to be accepted by each other.
Yeah, that is groupthink. I've talked about groupthink a lot of what they're doing, and it is really effective. Um, what she's talking about actually is the core, I would say, of basically feminism, being on one accord. Okay, whether it's negative or positive, being on one accord, right? Um, we're going to not cook and clean. We're gonna all not cook and clean or whatever. We're gonna, so anybody that goes against that, we're not gonna serve our men. We're going to talk shit towards our men. We're going to do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna date, try to date others. All of this stuff is groupthink. And it's very effective because you will have a lot of women crash out. They'll have a communal crash out, and all the women will join in this crashing out, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing women calling out for help. The men, they're trying to survive, do whatever they can do. The simps are definitely crashing out. They're going to jail. You got violent simps that are deleting, they're deleting their entire family, they're deleting themselves, or they're going on a run after they delete, their family or whatever, or delete their baby mama, delete their wife. you know they're crashing out. Their simp chimps are getting deactivated, some of them, not the violent ones. The violent ones are, they in prison right now, or waiting to go to prison, or in the graveyard. So the thing is that, yeah, it is a lot of this, group thing. It's still going on. What did they say after the election? We're going to do this towards men. We're going to not be with men. We're going to make these men lives terrible. Well, that was only a month ago, a couple months ago, right? Month and a half ago. That wasn't, they're still on that time. They're still trying to lead. They're trying to lean into this misandry. It's a civil war. It's the extreme misandrists on the left, and then the women that want to be traditional on the right. They're, at odds with each other. Not really. They just really just ignore each other for the most part. And they come in alignment because they have, these traditional women have friends that are misandrous. That's one of the things that you got to understand. It's not like they're, team camp, I'm a pick me, versus team camp, I'm a, misandrous hating lesbian. They all are friends with each other. They all talk to each other. They conversate. They share ideas. They go back and forth. They have different viewpoints, whatever. They all talk to each other. Okay. In some of the beliefs that they have, even the traditional women have the same beliefs as the left-leaning, left side misandrists, right? They all talk to each other, online, offline, and they share ideas and they support each other as well. That's the thing that you don't know, right? But yeah, they all have groupthink, logic.
It's a cult-like mindset. And if you don't behave the way that they say to, then you're out of here. So I'm against anti-social culture. And at this point, we can see through the statistics that Black women are aligned with anti-social values in general. We see that through the incredibly high numbers that we don't see in any other races, and we don't see it in Black men. It is a particular group that is going in a destructive direction. And because we can see it showing up in the divorces, in the single parent houses, and the children that are damn falling apart, we know that there must be values that they are aligned with, that are not aligned with progress, that are not aligned with pro-social values, that are not aligned with a higher way of being. They can't be, because it would not produce the type of results that we're seeing. This type of sorority that the Black women have, sisterhood thing.
So yeah, that's the first video of I Am Taylor Chandler. I'm gonna do something better with the video, the next video, because for whatever reason on Instagram right now it's choppy. I don't know why, but basically I'm gonna deal with that. So let's see here. Let's play another one from the guy. I forgot his name already. Let's see here. Cypher.j.
Or even discussion for Black men to have. Submission in relationships is a Eurocentric concept. It comes from a world where white.
See, that's where he. See, this is where he. When I just kind of glanced at his page, and I saw the submission, and that definitely leaned like, that really kind of, kind of pretty much got my attention. That being said, this is what this is like I said. I mean, my critique to this man is that I think he is definitely gynocratic raised. He has very gynocratic ideas. Single mom raised men are, they definitely have a lot of gynocratic ways, and a lot of men call them out on that, and they feel they don't like that men call them out because they, abnormalities. What happens is, and a lot of this is in the Black community, they don't want, because it's a lot of abnormalities in the Black community, they don't want you calling these things out, because basically there is a lot of abnormalities in the Black community. So in order to try to correct people and keep them, they want to keep people in check, they basically say, don't point out these abnormalities, right? Don't point these things out. That's what they do, because they don't want you pointing out these abnormalities. Okay, they don't want you pointing these things out. So basically, because there are a lot of abnormalities in the Black community, things, weird ass things that people do and justify, and they really can't justify them. They can't justify them. So they say, just don't call it out. Don't acknowledge these abnormalities. Just basically ignore these abnormalities. Don't call these things out. Leave them alone. Leave them be. That's what they say, and this guy, he doesn't understand what true submission is. He doesn't know, because most likely, like I say, I'd have to put, I got $100 that he was raised by a single mom, $100 on it. Now the only like, if he reach out to me and be like, hey, yeah, I wasn't raised with a single mom. I was raised, here's my dad and my mom. We both lived in the house, and here's their marriage certificate. Whatever. Okay, yeah, I'll stand corrected. But I'm a Virgo, and I'm usually right. When I come up with something in my mind, a lot of times I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I'm usually right, bruh. That's just how that works. I'll be so right that I'd be contradicting my own self. I'd be already a fucking super millionaire if I didn't contradict myself. I'd be going against my own thoughts a lot of times. So it's like, yeah, like a lot of times I'd be right. But nature has defined gender roles. Nature has defined gender roles. They have defined levels of submission. He's saying submission is a European construct. A European construct, right? Well, a lot of black people are disconnected with Africa. They don't like Africa, right? That's the thing with black Americans. They have a serious complex when it comes to Africans. They don't look at themselves even as they're African, right? They don't believe that they're African. You could go on the street right now. You could go to your nearest city, and do a survey. And all of the black people that come up, do you believe that you're African? And you'll be surprised at the results. Most people, I don't know, I would have to say that they're going to say that they don't believe that they're African. They just don't have that. They don't understand. And this is what kills black people, right? Where the logic destroys black people. When you ask a white person that, are you European? They're going to be like, yeah, I'm Italian. I'm Irish. I'm German. I'm Swedish. I'm Scandinavian. I'm French. I'm from the UK. I'm from London. I'm from Welsh. I'm from Scotland. I'm from Hungary. And it's like, I got to come on here with just general logic and just basically just, what I'm saying, drive that home to you guys and understand you've been brainwashed. I mean, that's where you've been brainwashed. And you follow these little cult followers and these little cult, people that have a good social media strategy and all kind of the goofy shit, and you fall for that shit, and you're brainwashed. You have been a victim of brainwashing. I have to come on here and tell you, you have been a victim of brainwashing. That's why you can't compete, because you're washed in the brain. They're flying to all of these places, daily nonstop flights, UK, Scandinavia, Sweden, Switzerland, and they don't have any problem understanding, yes, I'm European. You got a problem understanding you're African. And it's the reason why your neighborhood looks like the way it does, why your women have the problems they have with you and all the other shit, is because at the root of the problem is you don't even know where the fuck you came from. You don't acknowledge where you came from because of whatever, historical relevance of slavery and everything like that. You have a problem. I'm not saying it's not all, it's never all, but most of you have that construct in your brain where you have not reconnected to your ancestral demons. You have been running away from your ancestral demons, your ancestral issues and problems. You haven't dealt with those things. And some people, it takes them a lifetime to deal with those things, and I understand that. I empathize with that. But You got to understand, you also have been brainwashed. This guy's definitely been brainwashed. Okay, this, you could see the high level of brainwashing. So when I see people brainwashed, I have to basically deal with the brainwashing. That's why one of the things I did with this video, some of these people are very popular with other people because they align with the satisfaction with certain things that they say and all of that. And it's like, I have to come in and basically give them, some foundational understanding. Okay, I have to give them some understanding. All right. So this is let me see here. Let me go here. Right here. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is more appropriate right here. All right. Let me help you out, my brother. My brother. My brother. Let me help you out, my brother. You say submission is a Eurocentric concept, my brother. You are incorrect, my brother. My brother. My brother. You are incorrect, my brother. Exhibit A. African village life of two women living in one hut. Each must cook best dish for their husband. Right here. Here you go, my brother. You see any euros around? No, my brother.
omwana neyamuddaana wange mutuufu omukyalijajaji n'omujaji ate akakuulira ati yasiikula
Again, you are wrong, my brother.
Wealth and power by the state, and white women submitted because they have financial security from the government-backed wealth, right? Black men were never given that power. That never happened, right? Black women were never given that security. That never happened. So why are we trying to force a model that was never designed for us? The real question isn't, should women submit? The real question is, what does fair leadership and partnership look like in a black relationship? Because submission without resources is oppression, right? Leadership without accountability is dictatorship. Okay, so
No, my brother. No, my brother. You're not you don't put on a dress. She doesn't, she really ain't supposed to wear pants. That's where a lot of, if a woman did reach out to me for help, I can help them. I can help them. It'll be very easy for me to help them. Okay. And one of those reasons is basically realigning, basically, you know, women, here's the thing, right? Women have to be taught how to be women. That's how fucked up this shit is. If you never really thought about that. Women have to teach other women how to be women again. That's how fucked up it is, right? That's how fucked up this society is. Women have to fucking train other women to be women again. This is how you be a woman today. This is how you wake up to be a woman. This is what you wear to be a woman. This is how you talk to be a woman. This is how you be a fucking woman. This is how crazy and idiocracy of how crazy this idiocracy is, that you have to actually train women to be women. And I'm gonna be honest, I know how to, basically get women to, basically capitulate, because I can give them what they daddy didn't give them. And that's understanding and logic. And emotional support and all kinds of other shit. Because basically it's very, very simple. You're in alignment with your nature. It's very, very simple. Most things are simple. You notice when you learn something and you didn't know it, and you're like, God dog, that was so goddamn simple. And I was overcomplicating this in my mind, and it's like, damn, it's just that simple. Damn. I finally figured it out. And then now you got it. You're like, boom, 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 boom. Because you figured out how simple the shit actually is. And you was overcomplicating shit. You was going crazy in your mind trying to figure all this out. And it was simple all along. And it's, it's like this guy's frustrated trying to talk about this shit. And it's like a lot of things are simple. It's not frustrating. It's simple. When a scientist understands something and he figures out something after he does the scientific method or comes up with a hypothesis, he doesn't have no harsh delivery. His delivery is very smooth and simple and defined as far as his discussion on what his findings are. And you can see this in this guy. He's very, very he's very frustrated in his delivery because his delivery doesn't fucking make any sense. That's why.
So we got to actually be serious about this a little bit as black men and as black women calling a black man a leader, right? Because we need to be able to talk about this. Let's talk about why some black men want submission and why black women are rejected.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you how. See, because you sitting in a room, like I said, with things behind you and shit. I hope you can get some money, bro, so you can get you a better, better situation, man. Because you trying to lead the black community with a plan and everything like that, man. We gotta get you out of the struggle first. First part of the agenda is getting you out of the struggle. Okay. So the thing is, let me tell you why men are leaders. Why men sacrifice on a day-to-day basis when they're in a relationship with a woman. They sacrifice whether they in a relationship or not, because men usually are the attackers, okay, and the marauders and the assassins and the killers, So, basically, when men are not around, men get away with violence because they know a woman has no chance. No chance. With a strong masculine man coming her way, she don't have no chance. And women know that. The smartest of women understand that. They're not going to go for what you're talking about because they understand, especially a woman that's from the hood. She's seen the consequences of not having a man around. She's seen the actual harsh reality of not having a man around. She's seen, okay, what could possibly happen. She has fears of someone coming after her. She knows the statistics. She knows the crime reports. Okay, let me help you out because you're young, and a lot of people don't read. They don't read. They don't. Stats has been basically destroying arguments since time immemorial. And these are again the stats of single women without men. These are the crime stats. This is why men are valuable. This is the most value that a man has, is the protection that he provides. Men hold other men at the gates of tyranny and invasion. Without men in the armed services, men on the Coast Guard, men in on the defense, basically keeping other men at bay, society and women will be cooked without that protection. And they know that, and they play that game, and they realize, obviously they need men's protection. That whole "we don't need men" and all that type of stuff gets thwarted when basically you start discussing the real meat and potatoes about how men are, basically the foundation of society. Who builds the roads? Who builds the cars? Who fixes the cars? Who does the heavy lifting? Who does the protecting? Right? Who does the providing? Right? Who deals with all of the hard tasks? Men. So, the thing is that it's very alarming and dangerous for women to be single in America. America is a violent country. Very, very violent. And when women are alone, they are targeted. They are very much targeted. They are victims. And that's where you don't understand. You don't understand, like, basically why women need to be submissive, because basically that's how that works. if the woman is not submissive, that means she's dominant. It's only a master and a slave in every scenario. So if she's the head of the household, how can you can't see, this is the ultimate conundrum. This is what a lot of men, have a dynamic, and it's a weird dynamic. You'll have women heading the household. Okay, someone's kicking the door down. Who's going to go to that door? A crazy woman, or most likely the man in the house? But she's supposed to be head of household, right? That's the problem. That is where your logic is basically blown up, because it's not about just being submissive. It's about how God made us. How God made us have to do with, and it's crazy that I actually have to, basically explain this, because when you go into the Serengeti and you go walk into the jungle and you got all them lions and wild dogs, basically being wild animals, you see gender roles, natural gender roles being at play, and you don't argue it. You don't think, damn, well, why is the lioness submissive? Why is the lion so aggressive? Why don't the lion roar it down? Why is he so loud? Can he lower his tone? You don't say stupid shit like that, because that would be stupid to say. But men, and women are, these complex creatures that playing these, too many people playing fucking games, and too many people doing crazy shit, and people trying, and it's a way where people are trying to normalize dysfunction. That's where all of this shit comes from. His call to action is to normalize dysfunction. Find a way to work out and deal with all of the dysfunction. And I get it. You're not the first person that tried to do that. Okay, you're about 20 years late to the party. It's plenty of men, that back in the early YouTube days, you had people like Thug Titian. He called men, white knights and manginas. Basically pro-feminist manginas. Those were harsh words back then. That people had people in the uproar. Basically it was like, yeah, it was. I think he used to go as Sergeant Willie Pete. I think he used to call him a mangina. I don't know. I fairly remember that, but yeah, you're not the first person that empathize towards women to the point where you damn near, you're trying to be in the bathtub with them and stroke their shoulder, talking about it's gonna be all right, and you don't get it, and it's like, yeah, you think that that's gonna give you favor towards them. At the end of the day, it's not. You might get some money or whatever. You might be the next Dr. Umar, whatever the case may be. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, those same women, as you can see in the case of Dr. Umar, are turning in on him. Okay, they're turning in on him. So, yeah, good luck. But the reality is, these whole gender role things, these whole submission. My thing is submit or suffer. You know, that's my call to action is submit or suffer. You know, and a lot of times what you see is when women don't submit, they don't do nothing but suffer. Because the suffering, you can't escape the suffering. And when you don't submit, most likely you don't have a man that you really have a copacetic relationship with, or you just have some type of, basically mangina simp that you can control, right? And then basically, that puts you in a situation where the guy's gonna eventually leave you, basically, because he's gonna get upset, he's gonna get tired. And that's how that song and dance normally works. Because see, in America, this is the thing about the West, America, the West, whatever. You're free to be as freaky and have all kinds of dysfunctional relationships, sexual experiences, all kinds of things. But you know what happens when you fuck up? Everybody's gonna laugh at you. Everybody's gonna laugh at your dysfunction. That's how that works. In the courtrooms, and everybody's gonna be chuckling at your dysfunction. If you don't know how to control that freedom, that sexual freedom, that you don't know how to court, you don't know how to have some type of medium to have a successful, sustaining, competitive family, you're just gonna be the one that laugh. You're gonna be the one that's not taken serious and are laughed at. That's how that works. In the Black community, they don't really get that. They have a problem with that. They're the ones that are being laughed at, and then you got people that are, basically talking about it and trying to have conversations about it, like, hey, we the laughing stock. Do you want to be the laughing stock to the world, to society, as this dysfunctional group of people that can't get it together, having all of these problems and issues? And it's like, yeah, that's not fun. That's not a good thing to deal with, to have all these dysfunctional situations and situationships. It's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. Putting the genie back in the bottle, yeah, good luck. Good luck, bruh. I'm gonna be honest with you. Putting that genie back in the bottle is very, very difficult, bruh. Because you got women that are power, influence, and control. When a woman is after power and influence and control, it doesn't matter about any relationship or anything like that. She's after power, influence, and control. She's not after anything but that. So a lot of women have relationships with men like this, beta males that they can control.
Will go and get beta males because he's not going to say a thing.
Let's go.
A lot of women will go and get beta males because he's not going to say a thing. He's going to let you run amok. He's going to let you do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten to the point where we don't want to be alone, but so we want somebody.
Yes. Yep.
But then we want somebody that's not going to tell us nothing.
Right. Right.
We want somebody that's not going to hold us accountable. We want somebody we could talk to, flip out the mouth. At the end of the day, the whole thing is we wanted to escape order. So we fled to independence because we wanted to escape order, because the order that we saw was not really order. So let me talk about the bad word here.
Okay, go ahead.
Submission.
That's not a
He
bad
wanted
word.
to get away from that submission.
I don't think that's a bad word. I
No,
don't.
no,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
bad word by nature.
Oh, okay. Got you.
If you say it
I
to the
got you.
average woman, especially
Mhm.
one that's out of order, she
Oh,
gonna say, "I don't want no parts of that."
right.
Mhm.
That's your mama telling you.
See, a lot of women
Ooh.
will go and get beta males because he's not gonna say a
That's your mama telling you what's up. That woman old enough to be your mama. She telling you you're
And
wrong.
some black men want submission because they've been taught that masculinity is tied to dominance, not collaboration. They believe submission equals respect because they've seen white men get it that way. They also feel like they're fighting society and their woman, and they want to break from the constant battles, right? The problem is that society never gave black men the critical financial or political backing that led to lead like white men did, right? Like it never happened. That whole leadership thing was an illusion, right? Like it wasn't going the same way. What a black leader is looks different from a white leader, right? Like a black woman's submission is fundamentally different than a white woman's submission. We need to take it seriously. So the issue is that when black men demand submission without offering security, and it feels like another burden, not protection. And this is something that black guys need to even also understand. You cannot walk up to a woman offering leadership, but not offering security. It's like a thief walking up to you, right? And
I agree with because I mean, it's not so much security. It's if you want to say security, he's talking about maybe I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's talking about financial security and actual physical security. So financial security is why a lot of women, even single mothers, get with men because they need some type of financial security. Let's just look at it a financial security blanket. You got a job, you make money, you know how to earn a living. You could give me some type of financial security. You could give me physical security. Other people around. Let me just show this stat here. Let me show these stats here again. So let me see here. I'll just put this in the let's see. I'll put this in the chat here. Let me see here. Let's see here. Mm. This is Canada. Okay. All right. So this is important right here. All right. So I can kind of decipher this or break this down. All right. So this is Wikipedia. Okay. I know it's not the best source, but it's pretty on point. All right. So the thing that I wanted to zero in is victimization rates for females. Females were most likely to be victims of domestic homicides, 63.7%, and sex-related homicides, 81.7. And all of these statistics here are primarily men, but you got to understand what they're not telling you is a lot of these crimes here that men are committing, they're doing it a lot of times. They're taking a lot of property and doing 98.9% of males did basically grape, which who are they graping? Mostly women. Okay, all the robbery, burglary, arson, vandalism, motor vehicle theft, again offenses against family and children. That's not having a man to check other men. Men hold other men at bay. Okay, so when you have a situation where you talking about you want
it is quite literally the exact same vibe. Okay, some of the reasons why black women are rejecting.
When you talking about you want equality and all of that crap, and it just doesn't work like that. Nature doesn't work that way. I was made to be. I made myself to be a beast. I learned jujitsu. I wrestled in high school. I had to fight when I came up. I learned, how to fight. I'm an absolute beast of burden. A woman that she wants to be equal to me, she can never be equal to me. God didn't make her equal to me. So you cramped up in your room trying to, put logic to the conversation. It just doesn't work that way. Logically, it makes sense to you because you're trying to please both men and women. I would say primarily you're trying to please women. Well, in a perfect world, that doesn't work. That's why the women know, you're trying to please them on some, beta male, let's please women, be a white knight type stuff, and have this, utopian viewpoint on how society should be in the black community. I mean, women already know how society is supposed to be. Okay, they go towards men that are masculine that can defend against other men because they may or may not have seen the consequences of not having protection from men, and they know to be submissive. A lot of times men force women to be submission by committing violent acts, to physically force them into submission, because that's the way nature actually should be. So they try to force it. They don't know enough to, get certain women that are more submissive. They don't have to force into no fucking submission. They just get with women that are, basically against submission and more masculine, and then they try to force them into submission. And it's like that's where a lot of this problem is, and it's like the thing is that again, all of the women that your copacetic reality of what things should be, there's already couples that understand gender roles. They understand how to, deal with life. They have game. They been had game. From their mama, their daddy, their aunts and uncles, and they have healthy, sustainable relationships. The problem is the majority of people actually don't at this particular time in existence in America, and that's the problem. That's where all of these things are, out of hand like they are. But your viewpoint, young man, on submission is very, very heavily flawed, very, very off base. I don't even really want to listen to more of this because it's just so off base that you're just trying to force something in your logic brain to basically come up with this idea that you have in your head. But I'm gonna give you the respect to play this video further so you can just, get this off. So I won't say, okay, I'm biased or anything like that. I'm gonna just play this shit and not uninterrupted, because I just want you to, put your stuff out there. Now, let me see how long this video actually is, because I just want to just play it uninterrupted so people can kind of get a sense of what you're actually talking about. Let me see how long this video is. Anyways, for him from start to finish. Actually, I'm just gonna finish this video here uninterrupted.
Are rejecting submission. They've been forced to survive without a safety net for generations. Period. I should stop there, but I'm gonna lock in. They expected to submit to leadership that hasn't proven stability. Right? Like it just hasn't, right? They see submission as another form of unpaid labor and control. Right? So the problem is that submission is being framed like as obedience and not partnership. Some of y'all just want obedience from black women in general. That isn't right? Like that isn't. I'm willing to almost say it isn't godly, right? Black women want support, not control. They aren't against good leadership, and I need that to be known. Black women are not against good leadership. They're against being left vulnerable. And I think that's the clearest thing I can put it. The solution is that black men need to redefine leadership, and black women need to redefine partnership, right? Men need to stop seeing leadership as dominance. Women need to stop seeing partnership as submission, right? What leadership should look like: providing security, emotional, financial, and strategic, not just money, right? Taking responsibility for decisions making with their partner, right? Take responsibility for decision making with your partner, right? Not over her, with your partner, right? Leading by example, not just expecting obedience. And here's what partnerships mean: mutual respect, not one person having power over the other. Sharing labor fairly, whether it's financial, emotional, or household duties. Black women are so effective, right? When they get into a relationship, they usually start unpaid labor immediately, right? Share it, right? Both people bringing their strengths to the table, right? The real goal is that a relationship where neither partner feels overworked, unprotected, or unheard, right? There was a woman that commented on this that made me think about this. Her name was Goddess Akasha. She's completely right? That mentality is key. The issue isn't just submission, though. It's that we were given a relationship model. It's that we were never given a fair relationship model to begin with, right? Black men weren't given wealth and power like white men, and black women weren't given safety to submit like white women. So you're still dating white, right? Even to talk in a submission based mentality, right? So instead of forcing a system that was never for us, we just got to build one that works for our reality, where leadership means responsibility and partnership means fairness. Because submission with no stability is not protection, it is just oppression.
Yeah, so hopefully the best scenario is he go through the fire. You on social media, you're gonna go through the fire. I'm sure he's not gonna like this video if he sees it. And hopefully he can get his simp chip deactivated. Okay. That's the best ideal situation for him, is that he gets his simp chip deactivated. He's got a strong simp chip. And pretty much that simp chip is got upgraded firmware. It's a modern version, and it's pretty strong. So anyway, let's play another video from Taylor Chandler. You just heard Cypher J. Let's play play one of these videos here.
A lot of women have lost balance in general and have developed some traits, a way of being, okay? Hard, tough, competitive, have been traditionally associated with men. Not even just an average Joe, a strong man who goes forward by any means necessary. This type of real strong man who denies his needs in pursuit of a goal. And we have a lot of women who have adopted these kinds of traits and qualities, and it's left you out of balance. That's why we had this cultural movement, the soft life movement. Women in general have realized that they got so hard and they wanted to back it up. The skills that really benefit you at work don't necessarily benefit you in relationship. When you think about the characteristics of like Western work, the 9 to 5 grind, corporate jobs, especially when you're ascending the ladder, it's not even 9 to 5. And these women know that. And men who are in corporate, you know that it's not even 9 to 5. It's whatever time to whatever time. That kind of rigidness, incessant pursuit of the goal to complete the task. For women in relationship with men, that's not typically valued. In relationships with men, more of like a flexibility, okay? Flexibility in meeting the moment with what it needs. Flexibility is typically valued more than rigidity.
That's a short one. We're gonna play another one. That's a short video. We're gonna play another video here of Taylor Chandler. Let's see here.
This is the type of behavior that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, makes your face kind of screw up like, ugh. And if you have that kind of reaction, I think good. It shows that you're not desensitized. Don't let people tell you all this, nobody can judge me. Yes, the hell we can. You have a system in your brain to judge good and bad. Let's see, we got a sidewalk with cherry blossoms blooming on both sides of the street. It's bright, sun is shining, the butterflies are flying. You got an alleyway on the other side. There is smoke coming out. You see a bat signal come up because someone needs help there. Okay. You see rats. Something in your brain tells you one better than the other. Let's stop acting like we don't judge every single day, dummy. Every time you go to the produce aisle, you pick up 2 apples. One has bruises all over it and one is solid and firm. You're making a judgment on what's good for you and what's not. You got to be mentally ill. Seriously, I'm not playing them. You got to be mentally ill to choose something that is obviously worse for you. You have a problem, ma'am. You have a problem, sir. And for those of you that's like, well, it depends. I mean, what if the bruised apple needs love too? Please, you're not helpful. We want you to get out of here. We need people who are reasonable people. If you like, well, the alleyway with the rats, don't judge a book by its cover. The treasure could be at the end of the... Stop. I am tired of y'all acting like we can't make simple judgments on right, wrong, good, bad. Cut that out.
So she's pretty much kind of going at a lot of the dysfunctional mindsets and the behaviors that a lot of Black women have. You know, she's a therapist. She's a licensed therapist. That's what it says on her Instagram. So she's kind of going against that dysfunctional mindset, that behavior that a lot of Black women present. I said before, a lot of them talking about don't judge because they don't want people pointing out the dysfunction, the obvious dysfunction. So they're trying to groupthink people to not talk about the judgments. Talk about the dysfunction, because they know that it's so dysfunctional. They know that they are even dysfunctional. So what people try to do is try to groupthink others to not point out the dysfunction. That's why they'll call her a pick me, because she's pointing out the obvious dysfunction, and why women are even saying don't judge, because they don't want you pointing out the obvious dysfunction. It's a lot of weakness in the black community. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm leaning towards the dark side a little bit, and I'm not gonna lie. I have a different mindset a little bit about how I should look at things. I'm not gonna tell you, anything about anything else, but I'm thinking a little bit differently about things. And I mean, I already have like more of a black pill mindset, but the version of black pill that people are saying is totally different than what people, like myself, look at black pill. But she's going to go in. This video here is kind of important, because she's kind of, all the new people, one of the trends that I have to say about new people that join these like
Ideology.
that join these social circles, they always come at the red pill or the manosphere. I find that all to be true. Like, it's like I'm just joining social media toolkit. Go at the manosphere. Go at, like, I just noticed that that's a trend. Like, that's part of the I'm just starting my channel, I'm just starting my page toolkit. Come at the manosphere, come at the red pill community, come at, men online, the podcast dudes, or whatever you want to call us. That's the toolkit. Like, when you first come out, when you first launch, you got to come at these guys, and it's like, yeah, it's just like, it's textbook now.
They're people who I actually think are destructive to the mission and not helpful. And this type of person I'm going to describe is not welcome to be a part of it. Just like women who don't want to get on board with higher value.
We're not accepted in the new community, the new communitah. Men like us that point out, the obvious, problems in the black community well before, while you was in college studying to be whatever you were going to be. It was us, talking about these problems, trying to work these problems out. And then now, we're not accepted in the new utopian communitah. Okay, let's go.
And healthy principles of relationships aren't welcome to be a part of it. Here are some key ideologies that are a part of red pill. Men going their own way, avoiding relationships with women to avoid divorce risk and legal consequences.
And then here's the thing, right? She's young. This is a young woman. No different than the other guy that's young, right? They don't know anything. They only know what their limited research, where they got whatever limited research they have. MGTOW is one part of the quote unquote red pill community. You got MGTOWs, you got MRAs, you got dating coaches. They were part of the red pill, the foundational red pill, with the Rollo Tomasis, the Alan Roger Currys, all of these people, man. Even Steve Dedeen was with Alan Roger Curry at one time. These guys that, now they bash the whole quote unquote red pill community. They were part of all of that. They were the ones, talking about, the pickup artists, the dating coaches were part of that umbrella. Then you had Immore, you had who else was part of the red pill community? The guys that basically just generally red pill, talking about female nature, talking about women's problems, their issues, talking about the problems within America, talking about the problems within the black community, and so on and so forth. Just generally just talking about day-to-day topics that involve, black dysfunction, black problems in relationships and all of that type of stuff, problems in society, problems with raising children, dealing with custody, disagreements and all of that type of stuff. That's what the red pill community is. MGTOW is just one part of the quote unquote whatever red pill community is. That's lumping. See, this is that general, and and I know, I mean, if she's seeing this video, I don't know if she's gonna watch this video, she's gonna understand it. It's a lot of things, it's a lot of things that she doesn't understand because she's just surfacely level glancing at certain articles, and she doesn't understand what she done with what she said. She's lumping all of the men in MGTOW. It's like all men are not MGTOW. Now, here's the thing. I will say this. Society, I'll say right now, society is kind of, because of the way both men and women are acting and behaving, is forcing both people, or actually men, to actually be MGTOWs to a certain degree or another, because that's the way society is basically socially engineering. Men are, you got some men that are in, situations where they're not in a relationship at all. They're not even dating. They might not even have, they might, kind of have the logic that they don't have enough money to really date, because a lot of women are complaining about coffee dates and, even complaining about Applebee's and just, kind of restaurants that, if unless it's like a 5-star, 4-star restaurant, that all of these things are the reason why men don't even want to date anymore. They don't even want to try to even compete. They just rather just, save up their money, might even just, travel to another country or something, because the dating environment is not what it used to be, and it's kind of costly, and you're not getting a lot of return in a lot of regards. A lot of men, they don't know how to get return from women. They don't know how to extract any value from women, so it's kind of complicated for a lot of men. So it's kind of like a society where, I'll be honest, it is a lot of men that their behavior, whether they know about MGTOW or not, I'd have to say that they're in an actual lifestyle where they are MGTOW. To be, I mean, just to, the red pill community is definitely not just MGTOW, like I've said, 5 to 10 minutes ago, but society is pushing men in a lifestyle where, whether they know about MGTOW or not, they're fucking living a lifestyle MGTOW, and that's just crazy. I never thought I'll see the day that this would actually be a reality. But I have to say, because of COVID, because of, people got used to being isolated, and COVID and all of the things that are going on with the world and the society and the economy, and just the way women are as far as their rules. They have a laundry list of rules when it comes to dating. It wasn't like that in the 90s. It wasn't like that in the early 2000s. And it basically, society has morphed into this thing where you got a bunch of thirsty simps that, support women, showing, porn and stuff online, and paying for feet pics and paying for DM fees and all this other crap. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's putting a lot of men in a trick bag where they're considered, just basically um, financiers of women to be narcissists, to be, pay pigs, femdoms, that whole movement, man. It's crazy. But I mean, yeah, the red pill community is definitely not fucking MGTOW. I mean, you got a young lady, you have to go do a lot more video watching. I know that's probably hard for you to stomach listening to men on YouTube and social media, but you got to do a little bit more homework, quite a bit more homework.
There's the alpha male ideal, which refers to the traditional dominant role of men, a focus on confidence, physical appearance, social status. There's anti feminism, the idea that feminism has created an unjust social societal structure that puts men at a disadvantage. This is a response to another ideology, okay, which is radical feminism. So something like red pill ideology, we don't get that without radical feminism. These movements are responses to social issues, or at least perceived social injustices. Radical feminism, that's an ideology. Ideas within that ideology include dismantling patriarchy, putting women in power, making everything equal. Now we're talking about things like Marxism and socialism. There are different types of feminism. There's something called anarcha-feminism. This is the belief that hierarchical structures are oppressive and should be dismantled to create a society where women can live totally free without any type of control. You see how you can get anti-feminism.
That shit gets interrupted as soon as they have a flat tire on the side of the road. Soon as that flat tire happens on the side of the road, all of that shit goes into pause mode. It goes into the pause button in life is hit. Oh, I'm a pause. I need help. When are you gonna come? It's gonna be an hour. I can't wait an hour. Can you send anybody right away, ma'am? We have a lot of calls today to change, basically flats, and people are locked out of their cars, and people are, basically on the side of the road too. So it's pretty busy in your area. We'll get a tow truck driver to you as soon as possible. Oh man, I got kids in the car. It's cold outside and it's dangerous on this overpass. I understand, ma'am, but it's other also women. I've taken 3 calls before I got to you, and they were both women on the side of the road. You're not the only one, unfortunately, ma'am. It's pretty busy, like I said before. We'll get someone out there as soon as possible. Yeah, that gets destroyed real quick. Okay, you need these cinder blocks left to build this house. Okay, that you want. Okay, who's gonna do that, ma'am? Yes, you got it exactly.
Feminism, when you have this kind of feminism on the other side, there's a response. Both sides can become extreme. Now, here's what I think. Not everything about red pill is bad. Not everything about feminism is bad. If that is enough to make you say, like, Taylor's not for me, then truly I'm not. And I think we should just call it quits right here. But either side can get very extreme. One side, like radical red pill, gets very rigid, while the other side, radical feminism, gets very fluid. Both sides get toxic and leave no room for the middle. I acknowledge that these are also the loudest groups, and most people are not on extreme sides of the spectrum. But I do want to highlight some things about the ways of thinking and behaving in these two extremes that you might find seeds of in yourself. You don't just wake up with these kinds of ideologies, you grow into it. Both of these groups have valuable points and concerns. It's not worth the extra engagement to pander to any one group, because then I sabotage my own mission. I sabotage the mission of me and Austin.
Yeah, so that's cut off. Um, You know, this it's a fine woman, man. You know, she checks all of the boxes. I think she's married. I think, you know, that's what she said. Her in Austin, and you gotta understand, like a woman like this should be with somebody. It's you know, a lot of women like this, they strive for perfection. Just you know, she has found she's a little bit more polished in her perfection than the other guy because she's found a way to make a living. She's a licensed therapist, so she's college educated. I think the guy in the other video, he seems like he's in maybe in college right now, or I don't really know what he's doing. He don't really have the income, obviously, to probably have a more of a polished appearance and look. His backdrop is you know, curtains in the window. I don't know why it's curtains in the window or in this backdrop is curtains, but the thing is that you can tell it's a difference between her and the other guy. The other guy, you know, maybe she should lend him some money so he can help join her movement and they both can combine forces, you know, because he obviously needs some money. You know, you got a lot of black women that call. They really, you know, you got a lot of black women that basically financially shame black men. They call black men dusties, brokies, broke, bums, um, bullet bags, all kinds of stuff. And they basically shame men for not having enough money, but they got more money than black women. Black men have more money than black women. But we're shamed, we're financially shamed to be broke, and then they don't even identify as broke, right? So, you know, the thing is it is hard for black men to compete. Black women are pedestalized by white men to get jobs, to get certain positions because they're not looked at as a threat. And to be honest, realistically, you got to be honest. They, you know, basically, that's an opportunity for them to basically fuck them in the office. So it's like basically, you have that going on where you know a lot of women they don't really talk about how they're favored in the workplace in American society over black men because they're less of a threat. They're hot, some of them, and you know, basically, you know, they're utilized for that. You know, so let me see here. It was something that I was gonna do, and yeah, I was gonna play. I was gonna play this here. Let's see here. So that's the both of those individuals. They're the new the new saviors. They have some tools they have some strategies, you know, that they're talking about. You know, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. You know, I don't really have too much more to say other than, you know, I'm pretty much I've already said my positions on things and how I have my viewpoints and all of that. The way I deal with this thing is I really, to be honest, I just deal with the financial aspect of life. Like my financial problems is what I deal with. I don't worry too much about the relationship stuff because a lot of the economic controls and the, you know, basically male competition, or you can even say ethnic competition, you got to deal with that too. That is a big part of why, you know, the relationships in the Black community are so messed up. You know, one of the things that I noticed, I was walking in a grocery store, in a like a convenience store, and I was in Gary, Indiana, and one of the things that I noticed was it's something about the hood in the ghetto. It has a lot of studs. It has a lot of lesbians. If you notice that, if you go to, like, you know, anywhere there's like a lot of poverty, you notice it's a lot of lesbians. And not too many people talk about that. Not too many people actually point that out. But I noticed that as a trend. That's a trend that, you know, nobody really talks about. But I noticed it, and I've noticed it for years. And you know, I say all of that to say that, yeah, a lot of these problems, these financial problems, that it kind of leads you down a road of crashing out, of, you know, being depressed because your financial status is not where you want it to be to live the lifestyle that you really want to live. It might put you in a situation where you don't want to compete. You don't want to really even date, to be honest. You don't even want to really feel, you're not confident dating. You're not confident actually courting women, right? So a lot of these things play a role, and that's what I do. That's my you know, philosophy towards this whole thing with, you know, the whole, you know, problems in the Black community. I deal with the finance. That's my call to action, you know. So whatever you know, deal with, or whatever you think that you can, you know, provide, or whatever, I'm all ears. You know, definitely, you know, basically, like, share, subscribe. And if you are able to support, my Cash App is below. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you cannot support, a like is better than anything. Have a good one. Hopefully, both of these individuals will watch this video and, you know, share their, you know, experience, or I don't know. Most people nowadays, they just quiet watch, you know, and soak it up, you know. But, you know, anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys. See you on the next video.